let's start with what is Lyzr itself in the first place. For me, what Lyzr is basically, I think of it as an enterprise level grade agent builder platform that lets people build agents and immediately deploy them and use it in a production grade. That is how I would define it. So, what do you guys think when someone asks, what would you tell? What is Lyzr?
I think in my terms, Lyzr is essentially an operating system that drives the entire enterprise. So when we initially started with Lyzr, the word that actually comes, Lyzr, it comes from data analyzer. But as much as we heard from our customers, so that is how we operate. So essentially we hear what customers are saying. So as much as we heard from our customers, what they wanted is they wanted a large scale of applications that can be built based on these AI agents. So what we did is we shifted our focus from not just having one individual data analyzer as an agent. We wanted to build them a platform and give them a platform using which they can build their own agents and use their enterprise applications.
And so, Abhishek, when someone asks you what is AI agent itself, so that is something that we are building. So, how would you define what is an AI agent itself?
I would say an AI agent is a non-deterministic system, autonomous system that can take action in terms of user, I would say. And we have multiple types of agents like manager agent, orchestration agent, and an agent also some people call workflows as also an agents, but they work in very different way.
Our whole aim is to bring down cost of a company by replacing people. I mean, essentially, it would feel very wrong to replace people, but in a way, we want to help people in terms of solving their existing problems and in a similar sense, bringing down the cost.
Right. So, did we always want to build an agent builder in the first place? Because being there from the first, I know how we went from building a analyzer package to a open source agent builder to what we are right now. Could you take us through how we went from start to here?
So, likewise, I initially also said the initial product what we have was data analyzer. So, what it used to do is that when you provide certain data sets, it used to give analysis based on that. But what we eventually understood that the underlying architecture of that agent itself can be reused in a lot of places. So instead of hitting one vertical, we wanted to build an entire AWS kind of suite for AI agents with everything that is possible and can be used by anyone just through a single lens of one platform.
And for you, so I know that Abhishek, you've been a part of rapid prototype team where you were building out solutions using Lyzr. And how was the experience for you in terms of using agents to build actual real world problems?
Yeah, when I was in working in rapid prototyping team, would work with directly with clients, and there was some really interesting use cases I had worked on. For example, one of the agents would be an auditor agent that detects the that does the internal audit for the entire company and in their entire vertical. For example, ISO 27001 or any other GDPR compliant auditing. So that too in a real time manner. So that in order to build those agents, I didn't have to code anything. I just built it using our platform. And at the same time, I had also built a lot of customer support agents, chatbots, and ticket creation agents. So to create those agents, it hardly takes 30 minutes and get it up running and directly run it in the production. So it's real easy and anyone can do that. So you don't need any hardcore technical knowledge to do that.
Right. And so let's talk a bit more about the team itself. I know the platform team is a bit of small team right now, where we are a couple of 5 engineers in backend and 2, 3 in the front end and just one designer we have. So let's talk about how did we manage to build this team in the first place and build such an interesting product with this. So I think the best part about our team is that each of us are specialized at each individual function that we or feature that we own. So each of them are individually to one person. So therefore, they continuously keep improving upon them. Therefore, improving the studio itself at the end of the day. this is how I think our team is working, and I think I don't want to change anything over this, because whoever is trying to enter to the platform team, they would have their own set of features that they want to take ownership in. I think the ownership part is the best feature about our team itself. Do you have any takes on this?
I think in terms of team itself, one of the key responsibilities of at Lyzr is everyone is basically the owner for their own software. And essentially, whenever they are building or improving systems, they have to take an end-to-end responsibility. And the responsibility that we all take is what something I believe that it's a very important key trait what at Lyzr we follow.
Right. And I know we are hiring for the platform team, and we're constantly doing interviews. So Abhishek, when you take interviews, what are the key responsibilities and skills that you're looking for a candidate here?
My go-to approach would be the in-depth non-system design, or like what is it, system understanding, right? How well he can understand the system in terms of scalability, and how well he can write code so that in the long term it doesn't cause any wrong effect on us. So that's the one thing. And another thing would be raw intelligence, how well they can navigate through the problem, and how they can come up with a solution with a first principle thinking. So these are the key things I look for a candidate.
True. Even when I do interviews, I don't mind if they don't know the latest AI technologies, but rather if they are solid in terms of building scalable systems, I would bank on it. I would depend them to build anything and learn everything over time. And Shreyas, I know you take the final calls when it comes to platform team itself. So do you have anything to add to this?
I think essentially what I personally look at is the core of understanding things and also the knack for building. So in my interviews, generally I look at low level design and high level HLD, LLD. And also one important key aspect that I look is how are they able to communicate the problem and how are they able to understand the problem what I am trying to give them versus what solutioning they are coming up with.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So now let's talk about the most interesting problem that we saw, which is when it comes to agents, there's always a concern of hallucination, responsibility, and observability. So let's go one by one. Could you walk me through how we solve the responsibility issue of agents?
So in terms of responsible AI, we have lot of layers to it. So the best part of our system, even when we are building it from scratch, is the modular design of nature itself. So when it comes to an agent, what goes in and what comes out is so modular that it is easily be can be extended to these guardrails and these responsible AI components. So in terms of responsible AI itself, we have hallucination manager, we have reflection, we have lot of modules that can essentially help an agent perform better in its task. Plus we have guardrails, enough guardrails and responsible AI policies that essentially help the AI agents to be in check when it is actually facing the user.
Right. And Abhishek, could you walk me through how we fix the observability problem of an agent?
Yeah, observability is very important when it comes to building an agent, because we try with different prompts and we do trial and error, and we also need to track all of those and how much credit it's consuming, and what's the latency and which tools it's calling, right? In order to understand how agent is behaving behind the scenes. And in the when we move to the production, we should also see the like statistics, like what's the average latency, credit consumptions, and where exactly it's taking how much time, right? In this way, so we have our own observability stack, so we help them to debug and fix issues in the agent.
Yeah. Additionally, I want to mention the evals part that we have, where one can bring their agents and push and break them to their limits by running test cases, by testing all the features that are enabled, and try to break them and fix them iteratively, because agent building is definitely an iterative process. It's not a one shot stop. uh, Additionally, one the modular features that you talked about enables us to add in so many modules, where a RAG, a knowledge base, even a semantic model, and even tooling is sort of a module that we have. And that is essentially why we're able to grow horizontally so well and scale it up really well. And let's talk more about scale itself. So now we've brought our product to a place that we are right now. So how do we scale from here? How does even one person get from zero to here and from here to wherever we want to go? How does scaling happen?
So, in terms of systems itself, if you're talking about systems, not at a startup level, I think scale comes from making sure that whatever services that we have built are decoupled. And when it is a decoupled, decentralized architecture, there's an event system that goes in and out. So based on those individual pieces, it is much easier to scale than having your vanilla, what you call monolithic architecture.
Right. And Abhishek, do you have anything to add on how can we scale from here?
I mean, in terms of what Shreyas explained, it's correct too. So we have already have a decentralized system in place, and we need to make sure that we are adding more robustness and to those systems. That's it. So
Right.
I think one more key thing what we are adding is also, I think Abhishek himself is working on that, is the identity part. So when it comes to these systems, right, talking to different organizations, right, everyone has their own identity, own policies, own resources, right. So making sure that the identity for and the resource access is very much plain line with all other, like it can be SAML, it can be opening idle connect. So everything is streamlined in a way, and that is why we are also very much aligned with the AI governance part.
Right. Very dope. And now let's talk about our pricing structure, because for someone who is building out in terms of how does one pick a model on how to make money itself? How did we go about it? And is there anything cut like in a standard procedure on how to make money, or we figure out, stumble and find this?
I mean, it's a very interesting question. So even if you go on our studio, you would probably see a very nice modal, which basically shows what sort of models are uh, expensive, what models are faster than each other, what models are thinking models, right? So essentially, in that terms, there is a page on which you can see all of this. But in my opinion, I think the best way to come to a pricing strategy for an agent is a trial and error, and then averaging out the cost that you are seeing for that particular agent.
Right. And Abhishek, to you, I want to ask, what is the biggest challenge till now in Lyzr? You've worked on so many items. And what is the biggest challenge that you faced, and how did you fix it, or solve it, and how did it impact Lyzr as it is right now?
yeah, one of the biggest challenges I would say building the agent observability. So we had to track. I mean, in terms of when it comes to agent observability, the data ingestion is very huge compared to any other features. That's the one thing. And the second thing, I had to display the real time analytics in terms of tokens consumption, latency, and everything. And one of the it affects a lot on the user side because the traces part. So if he has built an multi-agent system, so he wants to look at that, okay, the manager agent or the orchestration agent, so which agent it invoked another agent, so what was the output of that. So it affects a lot on the user side. So that's one of the biggest thing. And the challenges, I would say, the data ingestion part and the real-time analytics. So for that we use OLAP database ClickHouse, so which is the most helpful for the given use case. So that's one of the challenges.
Right. So when I talk about my biggest challenge here would be the tools system itself, where there were a lot of complications when we were building out. We were trying to make things work, but when it comes to scale, when it comes to making it enterprise grade, we had to ensure that we were, secure and no data privacy was breached. So building out an entire tooling system from scratch was the biggest challenge that I faced, and it took a lot of time, but it definitely will pay off in the future, is what I think. And for you, same question for you, Shreyas. What is the biggest challenge that you faced, and how has it shaped Studio itself?
I think one of the biggest challenge that I faced when I started out building the core architecture itself, there are a lot of times back and through what we went based on the modular system, how essentially things would fit, how essentially things would translate when other people are building modules on top of that. What are the communication standards that we use? So, the major piece also is the orchestration itself. And in terms of orchestration, the biggest challenge was, for me at least, was how do you handle long term memory and short term memory? How do you ensure that once an agent is called, it does its job? And even if it is unable to do its job, how do you ensure it retries? How do you ensure that systems play well in an orchestrated multi agent environment, and who has access to it?
Right. And now let's talk about what's next. So, what is the next big or next coolest thing that you're working on? So, Shreyas, could you go first?
Yeah. So essentially, whatever studio we have built until this point was for builders who are more knowledgeable in terms of using the studio itself, who understand the fundamentals of LLMs, how it works, what models to choose, what is RAG, all of that. But when it comes to this product that we are building, it's called Architect. So essentially, what it does is that it takes the entire studio as basically as a knowledge, and it can now build agents that a human used to build before. So essentially, if you just say in natural language, I want to build this specific application, it will build the agents for it, it will build the UI for it, and it will also create the entire database underlying structure for that application to run. So all you have to do, just enter what is your idea and and just integrate few tools, done.
I'm actually very excited. I think everybody here is very excited about Architect. And so, Abhishek, for you, what is the next big or next coolest thing that you're working on?
The next coolest thing I would say to work more on the latency part, right? How optimizing the all the latency reduce as less as possible. So that's the one of the thing. And as Shreyas explained previous, I'm also working on the identity management. So every organization and every enterprise customers can have their own identity providers. So that's something.
Yeah, definitely. When features are at this point, we have to look at both the hands and say features, yes, scalability also, yes, because that is where we are at. And so, similarly, while I also work on additional features such as A2A, MCP, and sharing of tools, it also means that the existing system does not break. I'm also working on the scalability part of it as well. So, this is pretty much what I wanted to discuss. I think this has been fun. I learned a lot. I hope people learn a lot. And yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for showing up. I really enjoyed this.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you, Raj.